to point out the shortcomings.
You see, they're part of government.
Well, they were busy campaigning to win his seat. Which he won. Corporate tax, Madam Speaker, have been further reduced from 40 to 35%. So you can't come now in this document and use the figures for 40%. It is no longer 40%. It is now 35%. So if we assume that the economy maintains growth, the most that you will collect in corporate income tax, Madam Speaker, is $35 million and not $60 million. It shows that this figure and this projected revenue is unrealistic. It is unattainable. It will fall further, Madam Speaker, if the UPP government keeps its campaign promise for the school feeding program and for uniforms. The revenue will fall even further. What about customs duties? Oh, they say that the government gave away a lot of duty-frees, but I understand a lot of the UPP people got duty-frees too. Both sides got. Who got them? Lester Bird got them. Asset Michael got them. I didn't get them. Robin Yearwood got them. I mean, come on, is the people of the country benefited? So, Madam Speaker, the estimate for revenues to be collected from customs duties that are presented in this document, they're significantly overestimated. So over 28% projected growth in customs revenue. Where is the empirical evidence to show? It is not correct to assume that people will import the same amount and quantity of goods if concessions and duties are removed. It is not correct. So what are you going to tell all the churches? No more duty-free on their building materials. No more duty-free on their vans. You're going to tell the taxi drivers in the country they're not entitled to duty-free concessions. The farmers, the fishermen. I can understand you saying you're going to curtail the discretionary duty-free concessions, but not the ones that people are surely entitled to, like the farmers and the fishermen, hoteliers, the churches. You have to continue that? You think that a poor church in Paramore pays the Anglican or the Seventh-day or the Bible believers in Woolies? You think that they can afford to buy a van, Mr. Minister of Finance? They're going to want the duty exempted, and they're going to come straight down in your office and they're going to say, Mr. Minister, we want it exempted. And you're a compassionate man. You're going to have to give it to them. What are you going to say? Austerity measures? We're tightening our belt? No more duty-frees across the board? It cannot be carte blanche across the board. You can say you're going to curtail the discretionary ones, but not totally. So I hope that these figures, when the revenue estimates for customs duties, Madam Speaker, will reflect that you will still have to budget for duty-free concessions. Madam Speaker, at no time in the history of Antigua and Barbuda government have we collected more than $420 million in taxes. We've never done so. The real fiscal deficit, Madam Speaker, with all the giveaways, all the goodies, the barrel, the food program, the uniforms for the students, is going to be more likely in excess of $200 million. A gap that cannot and should not, Madam Speaker, be financed by the selling off of government state-owned assets. What are you going to go and do? You're going to sell APU, APCS? You're going to sell Heritage Key? You're going to sell the Vendors Mall? Come on. You're going to sell Mount St. John? I'm speaking the truth, being realistic. Madam Speaker, what have we sold off? We have not sold off anything. Not a thing. Madam Speaker, today, on a serious note, there is much wrong in this society. There are few, if any, amongst its leadership who can honestly say that they did enough to create a nation united, not divided. To engender hope amongst the young, not disdain, and to foster commitment amongst the mature, not resigned inaction. So let us not start pointing blame and pointing fingers. There are motes in the entire leadership, in the political, in all, in the religious, in the trade unions and in the private sector, not just on this side. Like the media, Madam Speaker, you have blamed, you, the government today, have been blaming all the ills in this society on the former government. Madam Speaker, might I point out that the government is only one stakeholder in the development process in a country. There is, of course, other political parties, there's the business community, the church, the trade unions. And I therefore put this question to this Honourable House. Has all the stakeholders played their role in nation building? And have they done their very best by this country? In raising the question of governance, the government of today unfairly, quite unfairly, heralded the death of good governance and placed its corpse on the altar of this former administration. That's a cop-out. Let us continue the work of the people. Get on with the job of continue building this country. Madam Speaker, I'm not aware that good governance has died. In fact, I'm of the view that good governance is still alive in this country. That it's being nourished. It is thriving. I do accept that more can be done in this country to lift the standard of good governance in the country. And acknowledging our imperfections, this opposition party is willing to accept constructive criticism. We will not, however, accept total responsibility for the failures. An unfair criticism. When you opposed development in this country, you block roads. You blockade roads.
Burn hotels.
You burnt hotels. You sued investors. You cursed Mr. Stanford. And now you're blaming all the wrongs on this side. It is not right. It's going to come back to haunt you. We had warned you. Can our business community in this country live up to the same criteria that they've placed, the ethical and moral behavior that they've placed on this former administration? I hope now that your government in the sunshine, that they will so do and continue to support you and pay their fair share of taxes. Are they ready now to show a true commitment to this country? I sincerely hope so, Madam Speaker. And what, Madam Speaker of the Church? Are they blameless? We have the view that there's scope for the Church to play a more profound role in this development of nation building. They have a captive audience in their congregations, and they can use that audience as a privileged position to comprehensively explain the true meaning of Christian values in a society and what individuals should play the role in nation building. The Church can espouse the values of loyalty, of commitment, of civic pride to their congregations. And they must also tell their congregations not just to pay the tithes and offerings to them, but also to render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar. So, Madam Speaker, the Church is also an important rock on which the foundation of a genuine country can be built. The trade unions also have to play a more important role. They cannot continue to hang on to their old divisive ways and narrow views that the trade unions have in this country. They are lagging behind the more progressive trade unions in the other Caribbean territories. They cannot just be concerned with pay hikes and strikes and more strategic concerns of productivity. Those are the important issues. I note that the Honourable Prime Minister has taken on the responsibility for the portfolio of labour. And I hope you'll encourage the trade unions to be more progressive in their thinking and more modern in their approach to nation building. But we believe, Madam Speaker, that the previous government has not been given any credit whatsoever. We did nothing in 28 years. Nothing. We raped the country. We plundered it. We stole. That's all we did for 28 years. We were corrupt. So put all of us in jail. We did nothing. We have got no credit for building this economy.